Urban.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. Just a couple comments. We had our picture day. Just had, I believe, 8 practices. This next week is tough. We got 9 practices in 6 days. So the 2013 Ohio State Buckeyes will be determined by this week coming up. We move over to Ackerman Fields. And there's a lot of reasons why we do it, but the most importantly is you have to feel bad before you feel good and appreciate what you got. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we do it. And then just the whole, I would like to kind of go away. But, that's hard to do, you know, with your video equipment, all your teaching facilities we have here. So that's how we do it. The university's been gracious enough to let us use Ackerman Fields, and they're in pretty good shape, good shape as we want them. And then we come back. So once again, we have 9 practices coming up. The longer I'm in this 27th year, I really do think that the NCAA has done a good job managing practices as far as not being able to go back to back 2 days. So we've done a lot of thought went into our practice schedules to make sure that we treat the players the right way and still get a team ready to go, which is much more complicated than it's ever been. Just with the safety of players. We're going to have an official come in on I want to say Monday or Tuesday, and he's going to discuss the new rule about the targeting of players and the ejection. We had one in practice already that a player would have got thrown out of the game. The official told me, and I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Every player on our team has an app on their, a video on their iPad that talks about the safety of tackling. And that's real. I think that's going to really be, when he said that, when the official said, came up and goes, he's out, and I thought it was I didn't see that. And then we went back, and I think it would have been a matter of fact, we took that play and sent it to a group of officials, and they're going to report back to us when they come in from the Big Ten office on, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, I can't exactly know, but just think about that. That's a game changer. And what's been told to us is we want to go into players low, not obviously above that. So I'm still learning it as well as I think the whole college football world will be, I don't want to say surprised, but it's not one to just go, okay, what's the next new rule? That's a big one. So a lot of teaching, a lot of conversations going on. You start getting your players thrown out of the game for playing a game of football. Like that hit, I look at it and was it really, was it a targeting, lunging into a guy, which I agree with, but it's just simply the guy caught the ball and there's contact made. So I just want to make sure we do a good job teaching and make sure we do a good job of that. Quarterback, Braxton had a very good scrimmage yesterday. Mechanically, he was much further ahead. We had Larry Karras, a good friend of mine, come visit our practice yesterday, and I just was talking to him, and obviously the man knows a lot of football, and he commented to me about just his comfort in the pocket and his mechanics. So he's practiced his work very hard. I was very impressed. There were some time throws in the scrimmage yesterday that there's no way that would have occurred unless they threw this summer. And so I really believe that if we continue to develop a receiver, which we are, we have our top 3 guys. Philly, Evan Spencer's having his best camp. Much different player than he was a year ago. And Devin Smith are our top 3 guys going into it. 2 very good tight ends. And then we got some other skilled athletes with the Jordan Hall and then the tailback position, which is, we have some depth there. The D-line is the offensive line. Taylor Decker solidified himself as a starting candidate right now. If we play tomorrow, he's a starting right tackle. Andrew Norwell had a little plantar fasciitis issue, which he should be back Monday or Tuesday. He's fine. And Corey Lindsey still has a little sore foot from spring, but he'll be fine as well. He should start going, I think, Monday, Tuesday as well. So we haven't had all 5 guys in there together at once, but I'm anxious to do that because I think we could. That was the strength of our team a year ago, was our offensive line. Running back, I will go through running back. We have some depth, and that's a good thing. That's the best form of motivation. Is recruit really well, and then when they show up, they have good players, and that's what they have. There's not a miss in that running back group. And you got Briante Dunn, you got Warren Ball, you got Jordan Hall, you got Dontre Wilson, you got Ezekiel Elliott. I believe is that it. If I missed one, I apologize. You got good depth there right now, and that's going to give us some flexibility. Like Jordan Hall's going to be playing some a lot of age as well. So that's given us some depth. Rod Smith, I'm sorry, yes, Rod Smith's an excellent kid. Yeah, there's no reason, I'm just to read the headline, Urban Meyer forgot Rod Smith. I did not do Rod Smith. Rod Smith's going to be fun. Just get a phone call from his family. Rod Smith is doing very good, Tim. On defense, the defensive line is done. Mike Vrabel, he's attacking coaching the same way you attack playing as a pro. You don't survive as long as you did in National Football League unless you got an extremely good work ethic and very professional about your job. And he was a first-year defensive line coach, and you can tell he's a very experienced defensive line coach now. So I'm seeing some progress in technique and some of the things that we expect, and it has to happen. We just don't have very many older guys. I was looking at our middle two, our nose and our tackle. None of them are seniors. There's 6 of them right now, and they're all back, so I expect those guys to really develop. And the inside guys are Joel Hale and Mike Bennett, and then you have Tommy Shutt is really pushing those other 2 for a starting spot. And you've got Chris Carter, Billy Price, and a kid named Mike Hill, who's coming on. I will announce Donovan Munger has qualified. Did I say that right? He has qualified. He'll be here Wednesday. He has a health issue. He had a blood clot, so he will not play this fall. So he's not been cleared to play, but he's going to be in school, and I believe he gets here this week, which is good to get him here and get going. And he just had to get cleared by the clearinghouse, which he did. Okay, defensive end, you got Noah Spence, and is really doing well. He did scrimmage particularly as good as he's been practicing, but him and Adolphus Washington are potential candidates for all conference someday. Maybe not this year, but someday. And then you got Steve Miller, Rashard Frazier, and the other one, Joey Bosa is another player that's going to, I imagine he'll play this year. We're playing around with him inside as well as outside. Not missing one defensive end. We're missing United Dolphins. Jamal Marcus and
JT Moore, is he starting?
Lewis?
Yeah, JT Moore.
Who's that?
Lewis?
Taekwondo Lewis, yeah, that's him. Thank you.
Is there a name up there?
Come study your roster for you. It's our 3rd meeting today in like 2 weeks. You think I have one. Linebackers, you got Shazier's had a good day. He's had a good day yesterday, and he's shown some leadership. The Mike linebacker is Curtis Grant, and he's backed up by Mike Mitchell right now and Joe Berger. That's how we're going to go with that spot. And they're doing good. Nickel is going to be right now Titus Powell, and then the Sam linebacker is Josh Perry. And then the safeties and corners. They're doing good. Our Australian, I don't know if they had a chance to meet him yet.
Today.
We got a chance to talk to the man from the Outback. He's a very talented young man. He's 21 years old, played Australian rules football. He's really talented. He's going to give us some flexibility. He's very athletic. He's fast, and he can get on the, I didn't know this until I watched him do it, but the way they pass in Australian rules football, they kick it to him. So he can, if you want to run a square, he can probably hit you on a punt. Really talented. But just as a joy, really fun to coach. We have some fun with him today. Drew Basil's doing really good. He's a grown man playing a game of college football, which is kind of fun to coach. Any questions for him? Returner?
Yeah.
There's a plethora. We're good right now. I remember there was a time last year where we were looking for returners and we couldn't find any. Now there's a fight for them. And I think Jordan Hall, Dontre Wilson, Roby, James Clark is a guy that I don't know if I mentioned. He's doing very well, very talented guy. And Philly Brown is the punt returner, but he's also got some pressure behind him because we got some guys who return. I'd be really disappointed if our return game's not really good this year, which I would grade it very poor in kickoff return last year. And punt return pretty good. I think we had 2, and we expect more than that.
Bill.
I know as a coach you just think about the next rep, the next practice, but how different is the feeling around here knowing that everything is available to you guys, whether it be national championship?
I don't feel it, Bill. I think that's a good question today that you asked the players, and I did meet with the players. I want to make sure that you get some young. We are going to let the freshmen speak, and usually freshmen don't. They just instead of thinking it through. And so our goal is to compete for championships in November. And the cool thing was last year, after they told us we could, that was the same goal we had a year ago. So I don't feel it. I I imagine it's when it's away from us, they hear chatter, but it's to compete for championship in November. So I really don't feel a different pulse. I think that's a credit to last year's group too. They just went about their business. It was kind of refreshing to do that. Be around that.
Urban, you referenced Jordan playing a lot at H. Without him a year ago, or some other guys with that age where he can speak a little more, that position as you envision it really this last year?
No, we put Philly, and Philly's a good player. Philly's a receiver though, and he's playing receiver now. H is more that hybrid guy that can do some things, and Jordan Hall's our best candidate to do that right now, because you have to be able to have the ability to catch the ball and do some of those things, and the quickness, and a little bit of gamesmanship. And that's one of the things about Jordan Hall. He's a very smart player, so he gives us that spot.
How much of the offense maybe was missing then?
That's all. I mean, that whole part of the offense didn't exist, which is tough. If you evaluate last year's offense, we were a pro offense. There was not a lot of read components. Does that make sense? The whole equation where there's one extra guy in the box, you read one, whether it's second level, first level, which is kind of the essence of what spread football is, really didn't exist for us. Now, we did run some single wing, which means we direct snap the quarterback, and one of our best players was the quarterback counter, because he's our best player, and we had no use him. So you'll see a different style of offense this year. If we stay healthy, these guys not practices. Excuse me.
Urban, Braxton's obviously the front runner for the Heisman, and you've talked a lot about his development as a player. I'm just curious, a lot of pressure for a young guy. Can you talk about his development as a person since you've been here, and is he's prepared for that?
I got to be careful because I just glow. I love Braxton Miller. Him and Tom Herman got something really special going right now. You can see it on the field. You can see his maturity, like Bob mentioned. I'm just anxious when you guys get a chance to visit with him. He just seems to be. I've heard that from some people. He's a different guy. He's never been a bad guy. He's always been a great guy. But now he's got a little confidence to him. That whole Gruden football camp. Well, I think we're going to teach till we actually use that this summer with him. You see the RG3, Andrew Lux, and some of those guys, the way they handle every person ever wants a quarterback. I call it the most unique position in sport, where you can't be you're allowed to be a little introverted, but you have to be able to lead. He's doing I don't want to give him an A yet, but he's pushing A work as far as I saw it yesterday, because the offense really struggled early in the scrimmage, and he just kind of started managing it. It wasn't always the coach managing it, so he's really grown in that respect. And if he does, Bob, I'm just saying this, if he does, I mean, that's a special player.
Urban, a year ago you were coming to a place you had been in 25 years, new team, new league that you didn't know very well as you had been as the head coach. This year, how do your expectations change? What do you look for now?
I've always, this might be hard to imagine, but we really are one game at a time. I've always been a one game at a time coach, because I've been on staffs where all of a sudden you're looking at something other than the next game, and you wake up in the morning with a loss. And that, I don't want to say that horrifies me, but that motivates me. That's my mindset. And a lot of times the team's mindset is that of the head coach, and that's I really don't feel that much different than we did last year. We're in the third game or fifth game. Obviously, there's one game really important on our schedule, but that's November. So that's one that does occupy some thought. But we are really focused on getting to August 31st, and that's no different than it was a year ago. You know what we do on today? We have something called a Buckeye experience, where we'll have some former players come in and talk about the great traditions of Ohio State, the Buckeye League's a senior tackle, Buckeye Grove, Victory Bell, all the great fights on. The band director's going to come in tonight, and those are. I think that's a little different, because it's been so long since I've been back here. But now it's not. It's a special place, and I want our players to own it, not rent it. I want them to own it, take share, stock in Ohio State, not be a one and done type of player, because that's not how you win games.
All right, Tim?
Rick, a couple of quickies. Number one, is Najee Murray still part of this team? There was a report yesterday that possibly he had moved on.
Oh, he's suspended right now, just a training camp issue.
Number two, lots been made early about Dontre Wilson. Do you now project him as playing? What do you see about him that you like? And just touch on how important maybe the next 9 days are for him.
Really important. He's a running back. Like someone was asking me, is he playing wide receiver? No, he's a running back. Now, he also has a unique skill set where he's extremely dynamic and fast, which we all know what that means in the game of football, especially in an offense where you try to create space. So he has certainly had his black stripe removed last night. I think him and Mike Mitchell did, right? Mike Mitchell had it taken off, and Ezekiel Elliott was right there, but he laid one on the ground. But so we've done good. Last year's class is good.
Does Dunfrey bring something that you didn't have last year?
Oh my gosh.
Like we were talking about a while ago about McCarthy.
Yeah, here's the way we evaluate offensive line. Offense. Get the player to the second level, and then recruit your tail off. And then the second level, then you see that crazy stuff that God bless these incredible athletes with, and that's called big hits. We were not a big hit team last year. We got to the second level, a lot of times the second level made the tackle. And which is good. I mean, I think we led the Big Ten in scoring, but it's not to our standard. That's not what we're expecting.
A couple more, because players and assistants are coming, front row. Kenny?
Urban, how do you as the head coach manage the expectations for this team? Preseason, number 2, coming off the 12-0 season. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They're hearing this. How do you make sure they don't get too full of themselves and read the headlines too much and keep them on even good?
Well, you look at the history, someone said back in, what was it? I was here in '87, started the season, our preseason number 2 in America, after a big win in the Cotton Bowl. And it was a good taste around. It was a big, this part wasn't existing, but I was here. And obviously, our staff got let go, and it wasn't a very positive year. There were some teams last year that were very high expectations that didn't make it. And it's not because of bad coaches, it's not because of bad players, it's because of distraction. And you just try to create a culture, and you're nonstop. As much conversation as we spend about X's and O's, I spend a lot of time talking about that. And we don't let just like today's or tomorrow's going to be another practice number 9. It's not just another practice. We're not just letting another day go by. Don't let number 9 go without getting better and staying focused on what your job is. So it's just nonstop because our clientele is 18 to 21-year-olds. And if you kind of recall, they kind of get distracted. We're just going to make sure we stay focused. That is a great question, and that's the essence of the season, is if we can stay, and when I say create the culture, that culture is driven by leaders. And last year's culture was driven by leaders. Well, head coach is good. The leaders of that team really did a good job. I'm seeing some very good leadership. When we talked about number 5, and number 10, Shazier, Christian Bryant, C.J. Burnett, and then the offensive line, so I'm starting to feel it, but we could talk about that all day because in November that's going to find out. How's your season going, Coach? Well, if our leadership's good and there's no distractions, I think we'll be all right. If we have distractions, we'll be an average team.
Middle left, Bill.
Urban, could you talk, first of all, is Wilson considered into consideration for that H-spot at all? And also just the speed component, how different it is?
Yeah, I'm not sure his skill set is perfect for the H as far as receiver. I mean, it could be.
How much is the speed overall on the team?
We're faster. We're a faster team. I mean, you'll see that. I hope you see that in 3 weeks. We're a faster team. We're, because you try to stretch. We did not. It's in theory. So what is a spread offense? It has a read component, and you force the defense to defend 53 and a third yards. The Ohio State Buckeyes did not do that a year ago. Didn't have to defend it. And then obviously you got the vertical component of and that's all speed. That's creating space and guys in space doing things with the ball. And I'm seeing more of that. Like Evan Spencer right now is playing much faster than he did a year ago.
More questions. Doug?
Urban, when you have a team that had success last year and has a lot of guys back, what is the expectation or the hope with the freshman class in taking a team from this level to that level? Is that
well, the 06 team did that in Florida. The 06 team injected a bunch of speed and playmakers into that 2016. I see very similar qualities. That's one of the classes that I watch in practice. We look again and see what number that is. And I feel that same way, certainly on offense. And I feel a little bit of a jolt, which really can help us. Our theory is you don't redshirt, you play. We're not saving them. Guys go play. We recruit you, we tell you you're going to play, and if you don't play, it's because you're not good enough. It's not because we're saving you for 5 years down the road. That's a little different lineman like Evan Lyles is going to be a very very fine player, but he's just not physically ready yet. But the skilled athlete, Darion Conley's a guy that's made an impact already. There's a chance he could be on the field for us. You got Kim Burrows and Eli Apple, so we got some guys that are, and once again, if they play, we're not holding back.
Last question, Dave?
Has Devon Bogard been medically cleared, Coach?
Yeah, he had a little hyperextension, so his hamstring, he had a little, he missed 2 days, he should be ready to go tomorrow.
And a quick follow-up, Von Bell, is he also back at that star position? Can you talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, he is, he's physically developed, wonderful player, wonderful kid, he's going hard. He's not big enough right now, but we're not sure if that's his spot or we're moving, but he's going very hard.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.